Chinese government touted its victory over Omicron virus and its zero COVID policy. Is it really that good? What is the toll for such victory? Hello everyone, welcome to Wei and Wei Show. So Kathy's not here, so I'm the only host here. So allow me. And so today I will be reporting to you about the Chinese government's policy or their declaration on the victory of its policy against the newly discovered Omicron virus reported by South Africa. It started like this. Recently, South Africa reported that there's this new virus variant over there, which has a lot of mutation of the protein in the spike of the virus, and which can seriously pose as another major threat. So as a result, it's really rocked the stock market, and U.S. has already closed the border to South Africa and also another 7 countries in the South Africa. So, but in the meantime, it's very interesting. In the meantime, the Global Times, which is the Chinese government's pseudo-official media website, web media, published a commentary just now, and I'm looking at this right now, and basically, at this time, China has this zero-case policy on COVID-19. So anytime they found something, they go as far as they could to completely wipe out any trace or any case. They eliminate all the cases. They have the zero tolerance of the spreading of the COVID-19. Sounds like a good policy, and if that can be accomplished. Okay, this is in the commentary. It says this. It says China's dynamic zero-case route has been criticized in the West in many ways. However, if the Omicron variants launch the new wave of tech, it is China that will be best able to block its invasion. The dynamic zero-case policy has pushed China to form a complete system, which includes both scientific spirit and political decision-making power. Moreover, it also includes a strong social organization and the willingness of the general public to cooperate. This has made China a true impregnable fortress against the spread of the virus in the world today. All right. So that's what they touted, and what I want to bring to you is the reality on the ground in China. Okay, actually, China claimed that Chinese government or this Global Times claim that they can fend off Omicron virus at the border of the country. Well, whether they can succeed, we'll see. Okay, we don't know. But what we do know is COVID-19, started there, and also this the Delta variant has been wrecking the nation by quite a bit. Okay, and so this third one, this is the third variant. It just got discovered. We'll see how that happened. What would happen there. So the most recent news from China is like this. Just as late as November 25th, which is 4 days ago. Okay, in Shanghai and Hangzhou and Xuzhou, these 3 cities, they found six cases, and whether it's Delta or COVID-19, we don't know. But they found 6 cases. These 6 people was dining together in one city in in the eastern China. Okay, but they don't know. They don't know where they got the virus. Okay, as a result, on the next morning, Shanghai airport, 30% of the flight was canceled. And in another city, which is a major city called Xuzhou, 40% of the flight were canceled. And among the canceled flight in Shanghai airport, 80% went to Guangzhou, which is the southern, very largest city in the south, and Shenzhen, which is another city just neighboring Hong Kong. Okay, so basically, this is the flight between the most, the busiest cities in China, most, developed city in China, got to just cancel like that because of 6 people. And you can imagine what's the impact of such a policy upon the economic activity. And in the city of Guangzhou, so basically people flew in, they cannot go out of the airport. They have to got this this virus test and show all kinds of proof before they can leave. In the Hainan is the southernmost island of China. Okay, and in Hainan, people were detained, saying that we need to do the virus test for you, and they said it's going to take 3 to 5 hours. But as a result, they were detained for virtually one overnight. And there's no service people, there's nobody who provide the food or care about whether it's cold. So it's quite messy. So the people was writing on the internet saying that it's such a sad, chaotic scene. And in the Beijing, okay, exiting Beijing and entering Beijing were very, very strictly, checked. And I won't go to details, but it's basically just create a lot of havoc to the people who needs to normally travel to Beijing or coming out of Beijing. And so because of this zero COVID policy, it has impacted so much activities in China, a lot of commercial activity, tourism, and offline meeting and conference and training, and has all been impacted, has all been canceled, okay, including several major marathons. But imagine, folks, after 2.5 months, Beijing Winter Olympics will be held in Beijing. So when they cancel so many marathon sports activities, what's the impact of the Winter Olympics? They didn't say anything about that. Let's look at some number. In the first 3 quarters, okay, and in America, 3 largest airliners, one is Delta, another is United, another is American. They've been all become profitable. But in the meantime, in China, the 3 major airlines, one is called Air China. Another is Eastern Air, another is Southern Air. They all lose money, lose a lot. Okay, so they lose for the Delta, United, and American. Actually, in the first 3 quarters, they make $1.2 billion and $470 million and $170 million separately for Delta, United, and American. But in China, those 3 major airliners, they lose 10 billion China dollars, RMB is called, and 8 billion and 6 billion, okay, separately. All right, so the condition of those airliners, the fuel rate, and is even worse than last year, okay, and it's only 60% of the year before, which is before the COVID-19 hit. So basically, in China, it's work like this. They've been carrying out this very strict, this so-called zero COVID policy. That whenever there's any single case that was found, reported, the airport will be closed. All the related, flight will be canceled. And then, actually, as a matter of this year, in China, situation is not as good as what this Global Times claim. It's just there's a reported case here and there, just like a wildfire popping up here and there. So because of that, so many airliners and airports were closed, and they incur big loss. Okay, international flight was impacted the most. Okay, I will not go to details, a lot of details, but it's just as a matter of fact, it's just international flight. A lot of things are canceled, and also incur a lot of cost, because not only the crews who fly international airlines needs to be they will be quarantined for 28 days, not 14 days, 28 days. First, they are quarantined in the hotel for 14 days. Then they go home and quarantine at home for another 14 days. And whoever get in touch, work with the international, airline staff. They will also be quarantined for that length. So this greatly increased the cost and the burden on the airliners and also the airports, and significantly reduced the people on duty there. So one executive in the field said, if they continue like this, just a bit more down the road, that will cost all the several years saving that the airline have. Some airline will be going bankrupt soon. And so this is not exaggerating. There's one major, for example, it's called Shandong. Shandong is the, how to say, the eastern, on the east, northeast province near the city is a coastal province, and the Shandong Airlines, they used to have 35 billion China dollars as total asset. Because of the loss, now what do they have? What's their worth? Do you know? Negative 200 million. Negative 200 million. Okay, so this is not rare. All the airliners, they incur huge cost, and many of them start asking for the rescue package from the government because they just cannot continue on anymore. And comparatively, in the U.S., we passed this, a CARES, the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. If you remember, I think that's the April of last year, and then the government, the act provide a relief fund to the airliners in the several, dozens of billions of dollars, and then to reduce their layoff and also keep the operation up there. And consequently, it is not bad, and they not only they stay solvent, and they also start generating profit after recently in this year in the first 3 quarters. But in the meantime, the so-called zero COVID policy in China was so rude and hurt so many people and cost so much. It has no chance to continue. However, there's no media reporting about that. They just say, we're doing so well, and we are the model country, we are the impregnable fortress to this upcoming, Omicron virus variant. But if they are so successful, why they dare not even to open up their, the border? How can they prove that they're successful there? Okay, so basically, but here's what I want to say. Another thing that in Hong Kong recently, just about 15 days ago, on November 11th, and a man arriving in Hong Kong and checking in a hotel, and 4 days later, in the routine check, they found that he contacted the Omicron virus, and also the person, a Canadian that's living just across the door in the hotel, was also infected. And they were both, vaccinated. Okay, so what does this tell us? It tells us that the current vaccine may have limited defense against this South Africa Omicron virus. If that's indeed the case, that will deal a heavy blow to the Chinese government, because they claim so, right? They claim this is we got this zero COVID policy, and then they have to extend that policy, and every day they extend it, it brings huge cost to the nation and to the people, not just cost, also the suffering. Okay, remember that back then last year, President Trump said that the cure of the disease cannot cause more harm than the disease itself. Okay, so this is exactly what was happening in China. All right, so the toll of the zero COVID policy was huge, and if you really, there's no media you can find it, but if you talk to people on the ground, if you just check out in the chat room on the internet in China, you discover that what I just reported to you. The second thing is, when the current vaccine cannot defend against the Omicron virus, then it would means China's virus, the effectiveness of China's virus, because they are now the biggest vaccine production country. They're producing 3 billion doses of their vaccine. It's called the Kexin vaccine. And then they expect to make $50 billion China dollars this year. So they are extending their production capacity, and there's huge investment into it. Not only they want to make a lot of money, they also want to export their Kexin vaccine to over 100 countries. Use that serve as a way to extend their diplomatic relationship. All right, okay, to gain the favor from them. And now if those vaccines cannot work against the Omicron virus, and they have invested so much on that, that kind of a plan will fall through. That's that. So actually, the reason why I'm talking about this is really things on the ground in China. Okay, but if you read the Global Times, that's what I read to you in the very beginning. It says, okay. Let me see. Let me read it to you. This is also still on the Global Times. The war between humanity and the novel coronavirus is destined to be a marathon, and the virus will potentially shape human behavior pattern more than climate change. China has responded to the challenge programmatically. It has not been influenced by any prior knowledge. The country is taking the most effective measures to protect people's life, health, and safety. And so this is what I see, okay. The reason why they publish such a editorial or commentary, I think it's an editorial over there in the Global Times. It is an editorial. What their utmost priority is to prove to the world that they can govern, okay, and then use that kind of approval to convince Chinese people. See, we can govern, okay. Just don't question us, because Chinese government's most priority is to stay in power. Just make no mistake about that. That's the motivation behind virtually every policy and every statement and every editorial. So when they are creating so much suffering and the pain to the Chinese people and to the Chinese economy, but you don't hear about it, because there's no media who is allowed or who dares to report about it. Okay, so with that kind of, they're really capping the whole situation on the ground with nobody know, then they just raise this flag saying that, see how great I am. That's for the political gain. This is a classic Chinese Communist Government's act. So in this kind of situation, what I really want to do is to report it to you, really what happened there. And just understand what they say is all for their political purpose. It's never for the benefit of the people. At this time, we do need to remember that almost virtually 2 years ago, it is really in China, in Wuhan, in that kind of situation, they already know the virus is coming. They already know the virus has already come. Okay, they censured the doctors who discovered that and sent out the alarm. They seal off the knowledge and the information, and they still hold this huge, New Year party in the January in 2020, and then spread the virus that way. Then they let go 5 million Wuhanese from Wuhan to the, let them leave, and then later they seal off all the flight in and out of Wuhan, leaving the flight, the international flight out of Wuhan. To America and to the other cities, to the other countries. This is what they did. This is what they did. And then now, the measure is always so selfish and so brutal, okay? And the world suffer at CCP's hand, and it is still try to take every opportunity to consolidate its reign of China, okay? It's very sad, but I have to report to you so that the world and also people in China would know what is the true nature and what they really did in China, so that we will not be fooled by CCP again. All right, so that's the short piece of today. Hopefully that make you more informed. And okay, and then the day after on Wednesday, Kathy and I will be back online again. And thank you very much for watching this show. Take care. Good night.